crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrow.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. You won't believe it, but Alameda County, where Oakland is, has instituted masks again. I'm not going to talk about it because YouTube doesn't let me, but thank God I'm out of there. All right. The insanity continues. Oh, there you go. I coughed, so I must have the issue. Let's talk silver, let's talk cryptos, and let's talk about what the good guys are trying to do. I know that a lot of you fully understand that there are people controlling what's going on. Obviously, our government can't be this incompetent. The banks can't be this incompetent. The whole system can't be this incompetent. Even investors can't be this incompetent. They aren't. This is being orchestrated. It is being run just like the entire system has been run since the beginning of the Fed, truthfully. We know why they invented the Fed. Because they had a huge problem with massive amounts of gold in the Grand Canyon and at Chocolate Mountain and other places around the United States. And they said, oh my God, will we destroy the economic system and the governance systems of the world by allowing humanity to know just how much gold there is? Or are we going to orchestrate a way to manage this problem, which they did? And that orchestration involved the closing down of the Grand Canyon for any kind of mining and a lot of places around the world, the total and complete control of the prices of everything. Since the invention of computers, it's been easy. It's been so easy. It's been ridiculously easy. So when you see the price of anything on any exchange, it is fake. So the price of silver is fake. Price of oil is fake. We saw that when they put it to minus $40. The price of stocks, the price of bonds, the price of the US dollar is all fake. Orchestrated behind the scenes, mainly out of the Fed, New York, working with the Exchange Stabilization Fund and the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, all these fancy terms. And the rest of the world says, okay, US, okay, we're going to give you the reins. Just don't screw it up too much. And obviously they have. Every night, the banks need a $2 trillion bailout, and they're getting it through the reverse repo market. Every single night, over $2 trillion of reverse repos are swapped and churned and burned because the banks need that to stay in business. I hope everybody understands that. Anyway, silver started to peak up, got to $22.50. Oh, my God, $22.50. Didn't we hit that in 1979? Yes, we did. And then it got slammed down. It's not free trading; it's just a game. But the guys, some of the guys who play the game for the controllers, are the people they want. The ultimate controllers want out. That's the banks like J.P. Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, and there is a plan to do that, and it's already in place. I've talked about who is behind it. One of the good guys behind it is taking up all of the physical silver. You can find that on the private road at roadtoroot.com. But right now we are playing with $22.23 silver. The commercials are in. This is one of the best times to buy silver in history. What can I say? We've never been closer to the end. Physical silver has dried up clearly since the U.S. Mint, who was required by law to make eagles in quantities to meet demand. The American silver eagle is the most popular coin in the world, and they are not doing that. They are creating fewer and fewer coins every month, and premiums have gone through the roof, over $10 an ounce on the $20 or $22 price point. That's illegal, U.S. Mint, and you are completely destroying the most popular silver coin in history, because there is no, they're saying, oh, there's a difficulty getting blanks. The U.S. Mint is required by law to buy at any price, blanks at any price. They should be outbidding absolutely everybody. The only thing fake about price is the $22.21. I read an article, they said, well, the U.S. government can't pay more than market price. Market price for blanks is not $22.21. The market price is whoever buys the next blank, the next planchette. If it costs $35 to buy the next planchette, that's what you have to do by law. This is not rocket science. Anybody saying different is an idiot or a criminal or both. Jeffrey Christian belongs in jail. He doesn't belong talking about silver. He's still saying silver is not manipulated, even though JP Morgan paid one of the largest fines in history for price manipulation of gold and silver and the US dollar. So, Jeffrey Christian, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. All right, so that's where we are, $22.22. Silver should be at the very least 4-to-1 with gold. It will move to 1-to-1, and I think stay there. Truthfully, there's so much gold in the world that hasn't been talked about and so little silver. If you have any gold, great time to swap it over 80-to-1 ratio. I mean, anything over 4-to-1 is ridiculous. How many ounces, according to Jeffrey Christian, how many ounces of gold are there in the world, and how many ounces of silver are there? That's about 6 billion each. 6 billion ounces of each. What should a ratio be if there's... Well, see, that's the other thing. What do you use gold for? Store value. You bury it in the ground. What do you use silver for? Everything. Everything. Elon Musk has been in the news a lot lately. He needs to come clean about his position in silver. Maybe Elon Musk is behind the scenes, working with the good guys. Clearly, he is on every other thing. So, yeah, Elon, how are you going to run your company if silver's at, say, $10,000 an ounce, $20,000 an ounce when the rigging ends? That'll be an interesting, thought concept for Elon. How do you run a solar company? How do you run an electric vehicle company? How do you run even a space engineering company with silver at that high a price? It's just hyperinflation. And it might sound a little outrageous to be talking about $20,000 silver, but what isn't outrageous these days? Is it outrageous to talk about minus $40 oil? Is it outrageous to talk about the US dollar, the actual currency of the world's largest debtor nation and the one who creates more money than any not in history, but any country around? The US dollar is the strongest currency. It's ridiculous. But you can achieve all this through computer rigging, market manipulation. So that's what they're doing. I'll be talking to my friend Will Laird today. If you're on Road to Ruta, go check that out. We're going to talk about things that we can't talk about. So that's going to go on the private road also. Make sure you check out the private road for all the stuff that YouTube won't let us talk about. Woohoo! Thanks, YouTube. Way to support democracy. Oh my God, when my leftist friends say, "Oh, we have to preserve the democracy," they don't know. They know nothing about democracy. Democracy to them is having Joe Biden as president. It's ridiculous. And we're not a democracy, we're a republic. You can't have 50% of the people be allowed to vote to take away the human rights of the other 50%. The freedom of speech, the freedom to bear arms, all our freedoms are soundly embedded in our Constitution for a reason. And if 51% say no, we're screwed. As a republic, not a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a republic where the individuals are in charge of themselves, or so they're supposed to be. And we're going to find out why that's so important coming up when our government fails. All right. Where are we on the moving averages? Take a look. Still way below the moving average. Not way below. $22.23. Moving averages are up at $23.50. I'm not a big fan of tech trading, but I know what the big guys, how they work the tech traders. And right now, they can't get any blood out of the turnip. If you drive the prices lower, the bad guys who rigged the price aren't going to get any benefit out of that. They have to get, right now, they're getting the tech traders to go more and more short. And then when they jump over, say, $23.50, boom, the tech traders have to both close out their old short position and they have to reinstitute a new long position. That's the way the game is played. Now, most of these trades are just going back and forth to the same traders. I would say not more than 10 traders control 99% of the volume on the COMEX. And it's all controlled by one entity. That's the crazy part. All right. Cryptos are getting a bid. Bravo to cryptos. Cryptos are not freely traded. I hope everybody in the crypto world understands these are all fake prices. What are the true value of cryptos? Nobody knows. But these are clearly rigged prices. It could be higher, it could be lower, it could be nothing. A lot depends on where you live and what regulation is going to be implemented. But in the long term, cryptos are the future. So any country that tries to stop cryptos from happening, the United States, for example, Gary Gensler, careful what you try to do, you're just destroying your own country. And it should be clear to everybody that cryptos are our future. I'm not saying that most of these cryptos should be around. They probably shouldn't. But what I'm saying is, if you pick the right cryptos, you're picking the Microsofts and the Googles and the Facebooks of the future. The old system is dying fast. Imagine being in 1990. I had an opportunity to invest in like startup internet companies as the internet was just starting. World Wide Web started in 1990, and my friends came to me and said, "Hey, we're getting into these companies that are going to be built on the World Wide Web." And I had a decent banking job, so I'm like, hey, it's not my world. What a mistake that was. And I knew when cryptos came out, I wasn't going to make the same mistake, and I haven't. And we're there. We're like 1999 right now compared to what the internet was then with cryptos. I know it's been more than 10 years, but there's been some setbacks due to regulators and market riggers. Donald Trump, one of the biggest crypto riggers out there, along with Chris Giancarlo, the head of the CFTC, even admitted it. Him and who was the Treasury Secretary back then? I can't even remember. Oh, Steve Mnuchin, Donald Trump, head of the SEC, all conspired to rig the price of Bitcoin lower in 2017. That was the first big crash. Everyone's like, oh my God, crypto's this, it's over. This is nothing. This is nothing compared to what was done before. And they could take it lower. It's a click of a mouse to take all the cryptos lower. It's a new legislation by Gary Gensler. But you don't want to be out of it. This is the future of money, the future of business, the future of governance. Imagine a world where the CFTCs and the SEC aren't even needed. That's the world that Reggie Middleton invented with his peer-to-peer transactions to take the bankers out of the equation. It would take the SEC out of the equation too. That's why the SEC came down on him so hard. One of the many reasons. It wasn't because Reggie did anything bad. It's because he invented a way around their criminal system. So keep that in mind. Yes, I am holding on to my Veritasium. Every single one of my Veritasium tokens is a lottery ticket. And I think that lottery is going to come true. We'll see what happens. Where can you get it? Mercatox. There's a couple other places, but Mercatox you can get it. But if you have $10,000 and go to try to buy Veritasium, you're gonna like double the price. Good luck with that. And those who have it don't want to sell it. That's why it's a very illiquid market because it's like the only crypto on the entire coin market cap that has a big red warning sign on it. Why is that? Reggie already settled with the SEC. So they can't come after him again. If Gary Gensler wants to throw some crazy, securities law on top of cryptos, they can't come after Reggie. They already nailed him. So Veritasium, bravo. Anyway, we'll find out. Bitcoin up 6%, Ethereum up 7%. I think Ethereum was a great idea, but got caught in his own mess, got too popular, and I don't think this fix is going to do it. I think everything's going to move over to Theta, which is I think behind the scenes, one of the reasons they use the same programming language and Theta and Ethereum are interchangeable. There's nothing you can do on Ethereum that you can't do on Theta, except Theta is cheaper, faster, and better. more secure, in my opinion. There you have it. Tether, when they take Tether down, all cryptos are going to fall just because everybody says they are. It doesn't mean that all cryptos are worth less. The cryptos are worth exactly the same. Tether's just a bunch of criminals from the deep state, and yeah. Will you be able to buy cryptos if they take Tether down, everything drops another 90%? Will you be able to buy cryptos at that point? Probably not. I don't think any exchanges will be open. I think it's all going to happen at the same time. The bank's going down, the crypto exchanges going down, and even gold and silver prices go down. It doesn't mean what you have in your hand has changed value at all. That's why I'm just the most gigantic advocate of sitting on the sidelines with your cryptos in your hands, with your silver in your hand, and waiting this out, watching the stupidity fly. And boy, is it flying. All right, here's what's going to happen. First of all, there was a poll on, believe it or not, on ABC News of how Biden was doing on the major midterm, discussion points for the election. Every single category he was failing miserably. Inflation, gas prices, crime, gun violence, abortion, and COVID-19. Every single failing miserably. Now, I think the gun violence, the crime, and the abortion topics, I think those are all part of the Democrat playbook. Midterms are coming up. Just wait for BLM riots, right? That's what Democrats do. They stoke these issues when the time is right, when they need them. Horrible, horrible, horrible people who don't care about our country. I'm sorry. You got to look behind the scenes. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not even an independent. I am independent, but I'm not an independent party member. I'm absolutely exercising my God-given right to be an individual and not to be locked into these insane people who try to run our country. At times you think that they make this up, but the good guys' plan is to teach everybody a lesson about money and inflation. Right now, you're going to get a really brutal lesson on inflation. Come the midterm elections, inflation is going to be raging. Gas prices will be well over $15. Inflation will be well over 15, 20%. And unless the Fed moves the interest rates above 15%, it's not going to stop it. And they're not going to do it. This is the end game. So Biden mandates more ethanol and gasoline. Expect many negative repercussions. Expect higher food prices, but little relief at the pump with Biden's latest questionable move to combat inflation. The EPA, after gathering comments since releasing its proposed blending requirements in December, said Friday it will require refiners to blend 20.77 billion gallons of ethanol, which is made mainly from corn, biodiesel, and other renewable fuels this year. Additionally, the oil industry must blend 250 million more gallons of renewable fuel both this year and next after a federal court found the Obama administration inappropriately reduced the 2016 blending requirements. All this stuff does these. Here's the summary of what this mandate does. And this is one of the reasons I'm saying, yes, they're doing this on purpose to cause hyperinflation to destroy the system. Synopsis. 30% higher corn prices with other crops rising by 20% according to the National Academy of Sciences. Growing more corn for ethanol causes increased amounts of water pollutants from U.S. farms. Expect more fertilizer use when fertilizer costs are soaring, which drives the costs up more. More summer smog. E15 erodes older car engines, gas pumps, storage tanks, and pipelines. And small refiners will suffer and some will go out of business, allowing Elizabeth Warren to moan about the concentration of big oil. That is what's going to happen, and that just got passed by the EPA. Biden mandates more ethanol and gasoline. And what is the ramifications? We're making Russia rich. Russia sees a $6.4 billion oil revenue in June as prices rally. How can we have a more incompetent governing body than the United States of America? Hard to imagine. The market has exploded. LNG, liquid natural gas, charter rates soar as traders rush to secure tankers. I did so much work on LNG tankers. back when I was in the banking industry, because I was in the large ticket leasing, and we did a bunch of LNG tankers. We leased them to the freight operators. They're massively expensive. My big thing was they're massively dangerous. I mean, one of these LNG tankers blows. Good night, Boston, where there's a big LNG loading facility. I mean, literally, there's so much energy packed in this liquid natural gas. It is shocking. One missile hits one of those, poof, Lord help us all. It's like a nuclear bomb going off. So I was never a fan. I mean, the downside compared to the upside. So the LNG market, I mean, you cannot make a new LNG carrier with a blink of an eye. It takes years to make these things. And the liability on them, another reason why they're so expensive. You can't rush them because when one of these things explodes, good night, whatever city it's near. It's happened before. A small tank exploded in, I think it was Cleveland, took out like 8 city blocks. And these LNGs are massive, massive. So just keep that in mind. But that, I mean, it's like freight rates going up. It's ship cargoes, over the road, rail, you name it. They're all going up. And what is that? It adds to massively to inflation of everything you buy. And then there was this article on Reuters. Anybody can read it if they want. It's a huge investigative article called How Crypto Giant Binance Became a Hub for Hackers, Fraudsters, and Drug Traffickers. First of all, they're talking about, for 5 years, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, served as a conduit for laundering of at least $2.35 billion in illicit funds. Now, 5 years of acting as a pretty much non-regulated exchange, the largest exchange in the world is cryptos, and you only have $2.35 billion in illicit funds? I mean, you take our bankers, we're talking trillions of dollars in illicit funds every year. And some of it they get caught for, but what are you going to shut down the whole banking system because there's illicit funds? There's always, you can't stop human nature. You can't stop the bad guys by taking away. It's like the gun situation. You got a couple of bad actors, over 300 million guns in the United States. There are going to be bad actors. I would say arm people, have people take responsibility for themselves. Don't look to the federal government to fix your problems. Anyway, so Reuters is clearly going after Binance, a hit job, big long thing. We've heard it all before, the drug traffickers, the money launderers, blah, 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 blah. If you really cared about that, why don't you shut down JP Morgan? One of the largest JP Morgan was the only banker for Bernie Madoff. The list of felonies that JP Morgan has is longer than your arm, shall we say. But no, they're going to go after the competitors of this criminal banking system. Because a small, tiny percentage of what's going on is in the dark side of the world. There's nothing. They said the same thing about the internet when it first came out. There's going to be too many pornographic sites and too many drug trafficking and fraudsters and hackers on the internet. We should ban the internet. That's what they were saying in the early 1990s. There's pros and cons of everything you do. I mean, the biggest pro, obviously, of cryptocurrency is that we can take the bankers out of the equation, take the criminals off the streets. So, interesting article, though. If you're interested in it, go for it. But what it tells me is clearly the powers that be are looking to demonize cryptos even more, and they're running out of real good stuff to screw them with. I think at some point they'll take down Tether. This should have been taken down years ago, along with, I can give you a half a dozen names in the crypto world, although I call them the crypto cabal, and tokens that go with them, and it's not going to be pretty for anybody related to Tether at all, and other coins that are attached to Tether. So keep an eye on that. I keep getting a crash signal. Anyway, I have posted the latest Jenny Moonstone. Worried, stress, relax. It's all going to turn out great. Jenny does a reading on the after the crash stuff. Now we are not saying, hey, you shouldn't be prepared. You should have already been prepared, truthfully, with food, with water, with neighbors. Talk to your neighbors. Say, hey, there's some shit coming down. We gotta be prepared for it. What's our plan? And definitely, if you take your investment assets, I'll be talking to Will there about getting out of the 401k or the IRA system and created a self-directed IRA, self-directed IRAs. So yeah, go check out the post. It'll be later today that I posted on the private road. But between that time and now, check out the second one on this list I did with Jenny, Discovering the Good Guys, the secret third-party JP Morgan in JP Morgan Bank of America silver lease. Yes, there is a third party. Who do you think gets all that physical silver? It is a single entity. And we figure out who it is. Go check that out. Go to roadtoroot.com, hit subscribe today if you're not a member, or just go right to the private road, which has all kinds of great stuff on there. A lot of uncensored stuff because I can't do it on YouTube. And if you subscribe today, we're giving away one Ruta Lives coin, the coolest coin ever, double struck, numbered, and it has a red heart painted right in the middle of Ruta. It's the Ruta Lives coin. Go check that out. This is Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com.